Breaking right now, the world is holding its breath. Missiles have struck near Dimona, Israel's most sensitive nuclear site, buildings burning, 180 plus injured, sirens screaming across the Negev. War turning deadly, nuclear danger closer than ever before. If you are watching this right now, your heart is probably pounding. You have seen the alerts flashing on your phone. You have heard the reports of explosions near one of the most controversial and closely guarded facilities on Earth. You have felt the tension building with every breaking news notification. This is not a drill. This is not speculation. This is a developing crisis that could change everything we thought we knew about regional security, about nuclear safety, and about the thin line between conventional conflict and catastrophic escalation. Welcome to Power Clash Report. We are interrupting our scheduled coverage because a development has just emerged that demands your immediate attention. We are moving beyond the viral footage and the panic-inducing headlines to examine what actually happened near Dimona, what the strategic stakes really are, what nuclear danger close could mean for the region and the world, and what this escalation could mean for you, for your security, and for the future of global stability. Stay with me. Do not look away, because what you learn in the next few minutes could help you understand and prepare for a scenario where conventional warfare intersects with nuclear risk, where every explosion carries amplified consequences, and where the margin for error has never been smaller. Let us begin with the facts, because in a moment of fear, facts are your anchor. Dimona is not just another location on a map. It is the site of the Negev Nuclear Research Center, Israel's primary nuclear facility, established in the late 1950s with assistance from France. While Israel maintains a policy of nuclear ambiguity, neither confirming nor denying its nuclear arsenal, Dimona is widely understood by international experts to be the heart of Israel's nuclear program. The facility includes research reactors, reprocessing capabilities, and reportedly weapons production infrastructure. It is heavily fortified, surrounded by multiple layers of air defense, and protected by some of the most stringent security protocols in the world. On March 27, 2026, multiple regional and international sources reported that ballistic missiles or long-range rockets struck areas in the vicinity of Dimona, in Israel's Negev desert. Footage circulating on social media shows explosions in the distance, smoke rising above the horizon, emergency vehicles responding to multiple locations, and civilians seeking shelter. Israeli emergency services have confirmed casualties, reportedly over 180 injured, and significant property damage in nearby communities. The Israel Defense Forces stated that air defense systems, including Arrow and David's Sling, were activated to intercept incoming threats, but that some projectiles penetrated defenses and impacted near-sensitive sites. Iranian state media and military channels have reportedly claimed responsibility for the attack, framing it as justified retaliation for previous strikes on Iranian territory and a warning against further escalation. However, as of this recording, there is no definitive on-the-record confirmation from Israeli authorities that the Dimona nuclear facility itself was directly hit, damaged, or compromised. Official statements describe impacts in the vicinity or near the site, not on the facility proper. This distinction is critical. In the fog of conflict, precision in language matters. Acting on unverified claims about nuclear facilities can trigger panic, market manipulation, or even military miscalculation with irreversible consequences. Now let us examine the strategic dimension, because this is where the stakes become real. Targeting the vicinity of a nuclear facility, even without striking the facility itself, represents a profound escalation in psychological and strategic warfare. The message is clear. No site is beyond reach, no sanctuary is guaranteed, and the threshold for targeting sensitive infrastructure has been crossed. For Israel, this attack challenges the assumption that its most critical assets are invulnerable. For Iran, it demonstrates reach, resolve, and a willingness to push boundaries. For the international community, it raises urgent questions about the safety of nuclear facilities in conflict zones and the potential for catastrophic escalation. But strategy is not just about symbolism, it is about consequence. If a nuclear facility were ever directly compromised, the potential outcomes range from severe to catastrophic. A conventional strike on a reactor could release radioactive materials, contaminating air, water, and soil across borders. A strike on storage facilities could disperse fissile material, creating proliferation risks. Even the perception of a threat to nuclear safety can trigger mass evacuations, economic disruption, and long-term environmental anxiety. This is why attacks near nuclear sites are treated with extreme gravity by governments, international agencies, and security experts worldwide. Now, let us address the claim that Israel is panicking. This phrase suggests a nation reacting impulsively to an unexpected blow. However, crisis response at the national level is rarely impulsive. It involves coordinated military, civil defense, diplomatic, and communication strategies designed to manage threats, reassure the public, and deter further aggression. The appearance of panic can be a strategic narrative as much as a reflection of reality. Understanding the difference is essential to avoiding misinterpretation. Let us talk about the human dimension, because this is where the impact becomes personal, immediately. The Negev region is home to Israeli communities, including development towns, kibbutzim, and Bedouin villages. The 180-plus reported injured include civilians, first responders, and possibly military personnel. For families waiting for news, for hospitals treating the wounded, for communities coping with damage and displacement, this is not a geopolitical abstraction. It is a daily reality of fear, resilience, and uncertainty. At Power Clash Report, we commit to covering the strategy without losing sight of the stakes. We will verify before we amplify, and we will humanize before we politicize. There is also the information warfare dimension. In the digital age, the first narrative to spread often becomes the dominant one, regardless of accuracy. The claim that missiles struck Dimona's nuclear site may serve multiple purposes for different actors. For hardliners in Tehran, it could justify further escalation and rally domestic support. For partisan media elsewhere, it could fuel anti-Israeli or anti-Iranian sentiment. For malicious actors, it could be an opportunity to sow discord, manipulate markets, or test information resilience. As consumers of information, our responsibility is to seek verification, consult credible sources, and resist the urge to share unconfirmed reports. This is not about censorship, it is about clarity. We will update this coverage as verified information emerges. Let us consider the regional implications. The Middle East is a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and proxy relationships. An attack near a nuclear facility could activate multiple fault lines. Hezbollah in Lebanon might increase rocket fire into northern Israel. Shia militias in Iraq could target U.S. bases. Houthi forces in Yemen might intensify attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Each of these responses could trigger counter-responses, creating a cascade of violence that draws in multiple actors and expands the conflict geographically. Moreover, Gulf Arab states, which have sought to balance relations with both Israel and Iran, could find themselves forced to choose sides in a rapidly polarizing environment. What about the global response? Major powers like the United States, China, and Russia have significant stakes in nuclear security and regional stability. The U.S. has security commitments to Israel and has previously provided military support during missile attacks. China, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council and a signatory to nuclear non-proliferation frameworks, may call for restraint and international monitoring. Russia, which has its own energy interests and geopolitical rivalry with the West, may seek to exploit the situation to weaken Western unity. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, would likely request access to assess any potential radiological risks. The international community would urge de-escalation, but without consensus on attribution or response, diplomatic efforts may struggle to gain traction. Now, let us address the technical reality of nuclear danger close. Nuclear facilities are designed with multiple layers of protection, reinforced containment structures, redundant safety systems, emergency cooling capabilities, and robust security perimeters. A conventional missile strike near, but not on, a facility is unlikely to cause a radiological release. However, the psychological impact, the potential for follow-on attacks, and the risk of miscalculation in a heightened alert environment create genuine dangers. Moreover, if a facility were ever directly compromised, the consequences could extend far beyond the immediate impact zone, affecting public health, agriculture, water supplies, and regional stability for years to come. Understanding the mechanics helps demystify the fear without diminishing the very real stakes. Let us examine the economic stakes, because this is where the impact becomes personal in a different way. Israel is a hub for technology, finance, and innovation. Sustained conflict, especially involving sensitive sites, can disrupt business operations, deter investment, and affect global markets with exposure to Israeli assets. Insurance premiums for regional risks could rise. Supply chains that depend on Israeli technology or services could be affected. For consumers, this can mean higher prices for electronics, software, and specialized goods. For investors, it can mean navigating increased volatility. This is how an attack in the Negev desert can affect portfolios, budgets, and economic planning thousands of miles away. So what happens next? There are several possible scenarios. In the most contained, Israel responds with limited, targeted strikes on launch positions or proxy infrastructure. Iran accepts this as proportional retaliation, and back-channel diplomacy prevents further escalation. In a more escalatory scenario, Israel launches a broader campaign against Iranian or proxy targets. The response triggers additional missile barrages, and the conflict expands into a multi-front regional war with heightened risk to sensitive sites. In a diplomatic scenario, third-party mediators, perhaps the United States, Egypt, or the UN, intervene to de-escalate, using this incident as a catalyst for renewed dialogue on crisis communication and red lines. The outcome depends on intelligence assessments, political calculations, and the fragile mechanisms of crisis management. What can you do as an informed citizen? First, stay informed through credible sources. Follow official statements from governments, international organizations, and reputable news agencies. Be skeptical of viral claims that lack verification. Second, understand the broader context. This is not an isolated event. It is part of a complex, multi-layered conflict with deep historical roots and global ramifications. Third, engage constructively. Share verified information. Support humanitarian efforts for those affected by violence. Advocate for policies that prioritize diplomacy, civilian protection, and nuclear safety. At Power Clash Report, we believe that knowledge is power. Understanding geopolitical events helps us make better decisions, protect our families, and contribute to a more stable world. Before we conclude, let us recap the key points. Missiles struck near the Dimona nuclear facility in Israel, causing casualties, damage, and widespread alarm. Iranian sources have reportedly claimed responsibility, but Israeli authorities have not confirmed that the nuclear site itself was hit. The strategic implications of targeting the vicinity of a nuclear facility are profound, raising questions about escalation, safety, and international norms. The claim that Israel is panicking may overstate the immediacy of national response, but reflects genuine concerns about escalation dynamics. The human, economic, and security stakes are substantial, affecting civilians, markets, regional stability, and global nuclear safety. The path forward depends on verification, restraint, and responsible communication from all parties. The choice before the world's leaders is stark. They can allow fear and speculation to drive policy, risking a spiral of escalation, or they can rely on intelligence, verification, and strategic patience to manage crises without surrendering to panic. History will judge this moment not by the weapons fired, but by the wisdom with which they are answered. As citizens of an interconnected world, we have both the right and the responsibility to demand clarity over chaos, evidence over emotion, and truth over virality. If this analysis provided value, please like this video, subscribe to Power Clash Report, and share it with someone who needs to understand these developments. Turn on notifications so you do not miss our updates as this story evolves. In the description below, you will find links to official sources, fact-checking resources, and further reading on this developing situation. We are committed to bringing you signal in a world of noise. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay safe. And remember, in a world of increasing uncertainty, clarity is the most valuable asset we have.